Uh, Mr. Vezet, it's a great honor for me. I was preparing something in Greek, and I think we don't have translation. I think we don't have it. So I'm going to improvise a little. I did my PhD on Stanley Cavell. Actually, he's a very prominent American philosopher. But Stanley Cavell has a great, let's say, has a great. He has started to actually. He's very implicated on the relations of sexes. I mean, men and women and marriage. And he was referred to John Milton, but actually he's the first. He's the first, as far as I know, he's the first. Let's say prominent philosopher that actually expressed some thoughts about the right on divorce. And we'll try to figure out if we can have see the divorce not as a failure of a family, but as a right of individuals that actually can be the first right expressed by the Enlightenment era, and also the religion, let's say, change that happened from 16th century and then. So, can we have let's say can be the divorce right, can be a free choice of the individuals. This is can we have also after this a kind of another approach of divorce other than a sentimental approach or other than joint custody or not? Can we have another kind of let's say exploration that can be other than, let's say, court justice or psychologist, let's say, exploration? Let's see it. John Milton actually he stressed his right on divorce on his doctrines in 1643 and 1644 to the Parliament of England, and he tried to approach the theological the implication, the social implication, the philosophical implication, and also he stressed out that the official church didn't want actually the divorce as a right. That's why even at the late decades of 20th century, divorce and abortion are prohibited in many countries, even in Europe. Sometimes the divorce and abortion can be seen as let's say rights that rights of identity that actually are rights that church and the tyranny stress out that they don't want to be allowed. So, toward, in order to Milton theory, there are some preconditions of marriage. The first is happiness. The second is peace. The other is conversation, and also happily conversation. And also stress out that a bad marriage is equal to a tyranny, and also can be a medium of neglect, of neglect even of your own kids. That's why let's say that's why the divorce itself have to be a kind of necessity. If there is no happiness, if there is no peace, if there is no such thing as happily conversation between the two adults. So Milton also say that it's very toxical for their kids to live in a very, let's say, in a destroyed marriage. He calls also the kids of not divorced and not happily married, kids of shame and anger. So also he says that he stress out that you have to the church and the state has to recognize the extended families and kids from other relationships, and he demands and also a recognition of the recognition of the kids from different relationships also. Cavell stress out that Locke questions the right of kings to govern the world, and Milton questions the mysterious the mystery of wedding as such. Maybe we can say that this demand of Milton is the first right of enlightenment, even previous than the other rights of French Revolution, of John Locke, or whatever. What is, let's say that in Greece, we have, we have not a kind of John's custody, but we have a kind of, let's say, we have a kind of and not we have an irrational calculation of child support, and we have the scheme that the one raises the kids, the other pays for the expenses, the one who raises his the presence of loneliness, and the other he pays for his not being there, for his absence. So what is the claim for joint custody? Maybe it's a claim about the identity of sexes. Maybe it's a chance for recreations of individuals, and maybe we have to promote a new, let's say, a new era on our let's say on our research. What I propose here is that we have to establish a divorce theory or divorce philosophy in order to have implementation in the gender studies. We have to search on the identity of divorced families. We have to have visibility for those divorced families, and we have to encapsulate the stability in research and the social let's say, outcome in the ideology. Because we cannot have a concrete, we cannot have a concrete, let's say, demand without ideological process. That's why what I propose exactly is to have to have a kind of implication of social studies and philosophical studies in this demand of joint custody. Sorry for my poor English, but I was prepared for a Greek kind of Greek a Greek speech. Okay, bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Nikos Sarafianos. It was really a very good presentation because it was spontaneous. Some questions to any of the about any of the presentation? Some comments of the other.
I know I know the presentation of Vittorio because he came to dinner too, and I've heard him twice, once in dinner, once in Brussels. And I can tell that yesterday, Jorge Guerra talked also about the consequence of alienated kids when they were becoming adults. He had the opportunity to meet 59 young adults that had been or in intact family or in separation without conflict, and a third group was separation with alienation. And it would be interesting for you to compare, but it was a research for the university, so it is proved now in Europe. I think it was kind of pioneer, he said, that yes, alienated child are really have a really bad health, physiology and psychology, both, and they are depressed, and they have there are more criminals and things like this. So I think you should compare and talk to him about that. Yeah, I don't know which are the comparison, but I know you had, but I think you could work together to compare your research, because the results are the same, really. Yeah.
Okay, about the psychology, I mean, the situation was really well known since a long time. About the physical issue, this is quite a new argument. I mean, the effect on the chromosomes, on the genes, on the hormones, on the cancer. I mean, this is a new issue, but I mean, it's well demonstrated. I mean, even in animal models, not only in the humans. I mean, and the data, differently from what we saw in the Jennifer Harman presentation, that is debatable, the situation is discussed. I mean, in this case, is not questionable. I mean, parental loss increase the probability of organic disease. This is for sure. I have another anecdotic remind. I have a friend of another association of divorced parents who, after one presentation of the book in front of a beer or a glass of wine, okay, he told me his terrible history with the mother of his son that was affected by drug addiction, alcoholism, a terrible situation. Several years after, Lorena and me, we heard that his son, 24 years, was assassinated. I mean, yeah, okay. And I looked in her eyes and said, "We know why." Because so I mean, if you know really what has happened before, a lot of situations apparently inexplicable. In fact, are, I mean, well explicated. As has been demonstrated, for example, that in some animals, okay, you must distinguish between biparental, co-parental animals and monoparental animals. Okay, it's different. The birds, for example, are monoparental animals, so there's no the risk of effect caused by the parental loss, the father parental loss. But there's a lot of animals that in their nature, they are biparental. In this case, has been easily demonstrated that eliminating the father, for example, or even the mother, you can have damage, for example, on the short time of the hormones, on the long time of the chromosomes. You can measure the stress by measuring the adrenaline levels. So, I mean, if this issue happens in the animals, I mean, is quite easily to wonder if it cannot happen in the humans.
Any other questions, maybe?
When was this written? What date? When was this book written? 20? Okay. And is there anything in this book that you would wish to upgrade or to add or to? It's still actual. That's good. So that.
Even smile and laugh. But what I appreciated in this translation is Ioannis took care, for example, to in the end of some page to write the detail of the citation of the quoting. This came from Odissea. This came from, yes, very, very good. Vanessa, you have been. Okay, this is appreciated because, yes, for sure, for the Italian culture, it's quite simple, but for other countries, the Italian poet, I mean, not so known.
So,
we have to get sort of like, because Mary mentioned about Vanessa, if she can translate what she said downstairs, because she said it in Greece, and now we have to coordinate and ask Vanessa how we're gonna do it. Do we need to get some sort of permission from you? Anything written from you? I'm just asking. No, because, you know, we need to ask that. It's ethical, you know. It's the ethical side of things.
It's a battle against the system because, I mean, the system tried to stop. Okay, I sold more than 20,000 copies, but I spent much more money going all Italy around from the Sicily to the border with Austria. Every week we were around to make a presentation, and I can guarantee, okay, yesterday, no, 2 days before, I was not present when there was the Greek, you said that there was a Greek, yeah, exactly, something cries, you said that something spilled tears, was, okay, I saw people, during the presentation, I saw people crying from the Sicily. Oh, I remember that she told me we were in Sicily, and there was one father that he knows at memory the book. And I was reading for the public, and she said, but it was 1 second before you. Or I found other parents, okay, everybody has found his own history because, I mean, 200 different samples. But sometimes we have met parents that said, I stopped at page 152. This was my history. I was not able to go further. I mean, yes, very emotional, yes. Even a judge, I remember in Puglia, in Lecce, there was this family judge, a woman. It seems terrible when she entered the room with 200 people. There was a lot of people to hear about the book. And when they read a little chapter, she begins to cry. So even the judge have a heart.
the reality is more than it's sometimes it's what I'm hearing it. Sometimes it's awful what
Yes,
yes. But you know that my sister promised to arrange some things to
French.
to this French. So I told her before I came here, and I said, "Hey, Dominica, don't forget you promised to try to
Translate.
translate the book." So we are going to work with. I'm going to try to find somebody who can.
Okay, 10 years, you have 10 years of time. 10 years are not over.
Thank you.
Okay.
So maybe other questions, other suggestions. Other way, we have to go to the plenary to listen to the conclusions before saying goodbye, which is always a sad moment after having 3 wonderful days. So thank you very much for your presence here.